Hello everyone and welcome back to this system series of Star Trek Online. My name is Winters and you are very, very welcome. So for this episode we are going to move on to, of course, another system that is in Star Trek Online, which is the reputation system. Now, we need to talk about another system very briefly before we get into that, which is the PvE queue system. So if I open up my inventory here by clicking on this button or hitting I for India on your keyboard and then going to the Assets tab, we can see here we have reputation marks, and there is a wide variety of different reputations, starting from Omega, Nukara, Romulan, Dyson Sphere, and so on. Currently there are 12 in the game. Now, if we open up the PvE queue list, which is this button here, PvE queues are player versus environment. That's what PvE stands for anyone who doesn't know. And these are basically missions that you would consider repeatable content. Usually endgame repeatable content. There are going to be some changes to this in the not too distant future, at least at the time of this recording, so things may have changed a little bit depending on when you're watching this video, but the essential basics will still be the same. So along the left hand side here you can see there are a number of different filters, and if you notice they marry up with the ones that are here. Like if you want Romulan marks, then you click on Romulan and it brings up a list of all available missions that can reward you with Romulan marks. If you want Delta marks, you click on that and it brings up a list of missions that can reward you with Delta marks. Right, if I go back up to all here, the next thing that I want to talk about is difficulty. So, not all missions have a variety of difficulties. Some of them only have one difficulty, some of them have three, some of them have two. So for example, this one here, Azure Nebula Rescue. This is normal difficulty, represented by the one chevron. If I click on this here, I can change it to advanced difficulty, represented by the double or two chevrons. And we can see that this mission doesn't have an elite difficulty. There is only 2 difficulty levels for this mission. This mission here, Battle of Corfez, is elite difficulty only, and the elite is represented by the 3 chevrons. If we look at this one here, Big Dig, we can see that this is a normal difficulty mission and there is no other difficulties available for that particular mission. There is only one difficulty and it is normal. So yeah, you can see that it varies depending on the mission. Some of them have multiple difficulties, some of them only have one difficulty that may be a normal or an elite, so it varies depending on the mission. Currently there are probably about 80 or so PvE queues-ish, I think. That wouldn't be including all difficulties. You're probably looking at well over 100 when you take into account all the various difficulty levels that there are for all the PvE queues. So basically the way it works is you pick a mission that you want to play. So let's say this mission, for example, Crystalline Catastrophe, and we select normal difficulty, or advanced difficulty, sorry. This is probably the easiest queue that there is in the game, and believe it or not, if you're brand new to Star Trek Online, this is your first playthrough, even if you don't know what you're doing, you can still go into the advanced version and succeed in the mission. It is so simple. Now I suppose the next thing that I should point out about all the PvE queues, these are not single player missions. These are team missions for up to 20 players, other players that you're playing with. The majority are 5-man missions. There are a few 10-man missions like this one here, Crystalline Catastrophe, and there's even fewer 20-man missions, but that's it, 5, 10 and 20, but the majority are 5-man missions. So yeah, you go into the queue, you have to complete X amount of objectives, and upon successful completion then you are rewarded with X type of marks depending on the PvE queue. Also, depending on the PvE queue, you may have a choice of marks. So for example, this one, Crystalline Catastrophe, rewards Nukara marks, fleet marks, and basically this icon here represents that it has a choice of marks. This one here, Cured Applied, it only rewards Omega marks. Now, as I've said, this will be changing in the not too distant future. There will be an additional option in, I want to say, a few months' time, at least at the time of this recording, where you will be able to queue up for a random mission rather than picking the mission that you want to go on, and you will be able to choose whatever type of mark you want, no matter what queue you play. I'll probably do another video on that once that system comes out, but that's looking a little bit further down the road. Now, going back to the various difficulty levels. Normal difficulty, you just have to complete the objectives. It's usually just, kill whatever, whether that's a single entity or a group of enemies or a number of groups of enemies. On advanced difficulty, you have your normal objectives and then what they call secondary objectives. Or optional objectives. Sorry, I'm getting confused myself here. Right, so they have optional objectives. As the name suggests, they are optional. If you do complete the optional objectives, basically you get more marks for completing the optionals. If you fail any of the optionals, then you get less marks at the very end. Now, if you are playing, I want to find one here, Draenor Gauntlet. If you are playing Elite, so we'll say Draenor Gauntlet, and we're playing on Elite difficulty, there are no such thing as optional objectives. You only have primary and secondary objectives, and both primary and secondary must be complete. If you move on to a section of the mission and there is a secondary objective and you do not complete that secondary objective, you will fail the mission straight away. As soon as that you move on to the next section without completing the previous section's secondary objectives, straight away, instant fail. And that's it, you're kicked out of the mission, and tough luck. The mission's usually on a 30-minute cooldown, and you get nothing for it, plain and simple. So, very, very important that you are 100% aware of the secondary objectives in Elite missions. I suppose the most important thing is to realize that there is no such thing as optional. You must complete every objective. You just have to, otherwise you fail the mission. Right. We're not actually going to go into one of the missions, or any of the missions now, because that's not what the purpose of this video is. But I still wanted to give a rundown on how you basically get reputation marks, and we've done that. You just pick whatever type of mark you're looking for, select a queue, select a difficulty, and then you click here, and that's it, you're queued up for it. Actually, I didn't point that out. You just have to put a check mark in this box here, and that queues you up for the mission. If you want to come out of it, you just click it again. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this button here, View Cooldowns. If we click on that, we can see here that we have all of the different reputations listed, and over here it says available. Basically what this means is that there is a daily bonus available for that particular type of reputation. So the first time that you play, let's say, a Dyson Sphere mark mission, alright, so a PvE mission that rewards Dyson Sphere marks, and you claim Dyson Sphere marks, you get a daily bonus on top of it, which is 55 marks. And this means that the bonus is available. So that 55 marks goes on top of what the normal rewards are for that mission. And yeah, basically this just means that the bonus is available for that particular type of mark. And you can view this anytime by clicking on here. Once you claim a particular type of mark, a 20-hour timer will come up here, and as you would expect, it's a timer. It will continuously tick down until the 20 hours is up, and at which time the available option will become available again. So that's the daily bonuses. Right, so we have done a PvE queue. Let's say we've picked marks, and the next thing is, what do you do with those marks? So we're going to close the PvE queue window. We can see here I already have a large number of marks for all the reputations already. So the first, or the next thing that we want to do is we want to open up our character sheet, which we do by clicking here or hitting U on your keyboard, U for uniform. From there then we click on the reputation tab, and down along the left hand side here we can see a full list of all current reputations. Currently in game there are 12. More reputations will be added to this list as time goes on. At the moment, and again this is actually going to change within the next few months, at least at the time of this recording, but at the moment there are 5 tiers in each of the reputations. Okay, you can see all of them has 5 tiers, and obviously when you start out you are at tier 0 with 0 points in that reputation, but you can see here I've already made some progress on all of them as it stands. So how do you progress up through the various different reputations? So what you have to do is you can select projects by clicking here, select active. And the very top project will always be this mission here, which is known as a daily. So if we look at the requirements, it needs some energy credits, it needs some expertise, and in this case it needs 30 delta marks. If I go to Iconian, we can see here, look, the costs are the very same, 15,000 energy credits, 2,000 expertise, and in this case 30 Iconian marks. So what we do is we click on select, and we can do it a second time, and it queues up a second project. And if we click on the project is now active. We can see that the rewards here are 5,000 Iconian resistance reputation, meaning that once this project is complete, it will reward 5,000 XP here and progress the bar up to whatever level. I think, let's see, yeah, it's going to move it up to tier 2. So let's actually do that. We'll fill this one out now, and we'll put in the resources that are required. And what's going to happen now is the queue, or the mission, the PvE mission or project, goes on a 20-hour cooldown. So in 20 hours that will complete. There will be a collect button available here. We click on that and we will get 5,000 Iconium resistance reputation XP. We'll get 340 dilithium, and we've already picked up this here, which is an Iconian resistance equipment requisition tier 1, which appears in our inventory here. This is it here. Okay, and yeah, that's it. That's basically progressing the reputations up, and you can do that for all of the reputations. You can see here, look, we have the same projects again. The prices are all the same. The only thing that varies with each one is the marks for them, the different types of marks. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is one of the other projects, and I'll show you that to you here now on the Terran Task Force. Because we have the daily project slotted here, it will not be available in the second project slot. Actually, do you know what? We'll go to Nukara because we have no projects. Alright, so look, I've got the second project, or the first project slot selected. We have the daily. If I select the second project, we still have the daily because we haven't slotted it yet. But this is the other project I want to talk to you about, the hourly. Okay, the hourly requires only 7,500 energy credits, 1,000 expertise, and 15 Nukara marks, and it gives 400, in this case, Nukara Strike Force reputation, 140 dilithium, and a Nukara Strike Force equipment requisition. Stay the hell away from these projects, the hourlies, okay? Never, ever, ever do the hourly projects. It is quite simply not worth the investment that you have to make into it. The return on investment is not there. Stay the hell away from them. And you can only run 3 of these within a 20-hour period. So do not run them. Only ever run the daily projects. Alright? It is the quickest and most efficient way of leveling up the various reputation systems. Okay? Only stick with the dailies or the 20-hour missions. Right, next. As you level up through the reputation, you will unlock a variety of different gear. So let's say if we click on tier 1 here, we can see that we get, or tier 1 unlocks, very rare universal console Nukara particle converter. And if we click down here and we go past the hourly, we can actually see a list of stuff. So we're currently looking at ground gear that's available. We're going to skip past that. Universal console Nukara particle converter. You can see that's available now. We can select that, and basically it takes 30,000 energy credits, 15,000 lithium, and 500 Nukara marks. That's how much it will take to build this item. This is a space console that will go on to your ship. However, we might not want that. My advice to you is to first of all level up your reputations all the way up to tier 5 or tier 6 if tier 6 is available at the time you're watching this video. And once you get up to tier 5, then purchase your gear. Because when you get to tier 5, there is a big bonus payout as a reward for hitting tier 5 in every single one of the reputations. Okay, every reputation has it, and that bonus is 750 reputation marks. Alright, so what I mean by that is, let's say the New Romulus reputation, we will get 750 New Romulus marks. Okay, if it's the Dyson Joint Command, we will get 750 Dyson Sphere marks, or Dyson marks basically. The other reward that you get is 32,000 dilithium ore. You also get a large chunk of energy credits and a large chunk of XP. But the big ones are the marks and the dilithium. So that means that for getting all 12 of the reputations up to tier 5, there is over 300,000 dilithium ore waiting for you just for getting that up to tier 5. Every single one of them up to tier 5. Okay? And once you are at tier 5, that means that you have an additional 750 marks that you can now use to purchase whatever gear you may want from that particular reputation. I can tell you right now that you may not want any of the pieces that are available in the various reputations. They mightn't suit you. They might be the wrong damage type. They might not be a good fit for your build, or whatever reason. They just might not suit. So you will not necessarily want everything that is available in the reputation system. Now, something that I should point out about reputation gear. Reputation gear is more expensive when compared to, let's say, high-end fleet gear. Fleet gear is far cheaper to purchase. It is also of higher quality compared to reputation gear. Alright? Fleet gear is higher quality compared to reputation gear. Fleet gear is also 50% cheaper to upgrade compared to reputation gear. Or another way of wording that is reputation gear is twice as expensive as it is to upgrade fleet gear. Okay? So very important to keep that in mind. Now, having said that, that does not mean to stay away from reputation gear altogether. Your typical build will most likely utilize a number of pieces from the various reputations in your build, as well as fleet gear. It'll be a mixture, okay? So you will want certain pieces, like for example, typical pieces that people want from the Task Force Omega reputation is this universal console. A simulated universal console, sorry. And then there's another piece called the Borg kinetic cutting beam. Yeah, they're just two pieces that most people generally use. But there may be nothing from Nukara Strike Force, for example, and there may be nothing from New Romulus. It just depends on your build and what you're trying to achieve. As you level up the various reputations, you will also unlock a number of traits. Basically, each tier level comes with it 2 traits for each reputation. So we can see here there's 2 traits for tier 1 of the Delta Alliance. There's 2 more traits once we get to tier 2 Delta Alliance. Same thing with tier 3, same thing with tier 4, and so on. If we go to the traits tab here, we can see that we have space reputation, we have ground reputation, and we have active reputation. These are where the traits come into use. So there's 4 slots, 8 slots, 12 slots altogether. That's a lot of traits. 12 additional traits that you can put in there. And this is another reason why I recommend you get your reputations up to tier 5 first, because then you have the full list of available traits available to you, and you can make the best choices, and you don't have to keep on constantly going back and changing them or whatever. Just get them up to tier 5 and you can then make your choices. Now, normally, let's say on a brand new character, okay, first time playing Star Trek Online, to level a reputation from tier 0 all the way up to tier 5 takes 40 days. 40, okay? Each one of these projects rewards 2,500 XP. Okay? Yeah, and to get up to 100,000 XP, that's 40 days. Now, if you run an alt character, or you create a second character, you can then do what is known as burning off a sponsorship token. A sponsorship token is something that will become available here in the upgrade slot once you hit tier 5. It'll be a project that's here, I believe it'll be at the very bottom if memory serves correctly, and it will be titled Begin Delta Alliance Sponsorship, or something like that anyway. It will require 100 marks, and it will give you a Delta Alliance sponsorship token, and this can be done for every single one of the reputations. And what you do with that token is, it will be a tangible item that will appear in your inventory. You can put that into your account bank, and it can only go into your account bank, as in you cannot send it to yourself through the mail system. And yeah, you put it into your account bank, and then you claim it on your second character. And once you have it in your inventory on your second character, you then select the appropriate reputation. You go to the upgrade slot, and you look for a project that's called Claim Sponsorship Token or something like. I can't remember exactly what it's called, to be honest with you. But basically what it does is, once it's claimed, instead of these projects giving 2,500 XP, they double it and they give you 5,000 XP. So it takes you only 20 days to go from tier 0 to tier 5. And it makes it much easier to go from tier 0 to tier 5, obviously, because it's half the time. Now, going back to a normal, let's say a first time, brand new account, first time player to the game, 40 days to complete a reputation. That will take 1,225 marks for each reputation to get up to tier 5. Okay? That's how many marks will be needed in order to get each individual reputation up to tier 5. If that character has a sponsorship token, it's 625 marks to get a reputation up to tier 5. So you can see it's much, much easier. Well, obviously it's 50% easier, isn't it? Yeah, so they're the numbers anyway to go from tier 0 to tier 5. Think what is next. Oh yes, once you get a reputation up to a new tier level, so in this case, because I'm getting 5,000 XP per project, this is going to jump from its current 10,000 up to 15,000 is required for tier 2, so it's going to jump all the way up to tier 2. Once it gets to tier 2, the daily and the hourly projects will disappear until the upgrade is done. Basically, when you hit each new tier level, you have to run an upgrade to get to that particular tier. So let's say in 20 hours time, I'm going to have to run an upgrade to tier 2 project, which will be available in the third or upgrade slot only. It will be right up here at the very top. You simply select it and then you fill it up with the marks, and it takes about 5 seconds to complete, and you then move. You'll see this go from tier 1 to tier 2, and that's it. You can continue doing projects as per normal. Each of the various reputations has with it a reputation store, which we can see up here. And if we go through the different reputations, you can see they all have the store icon or button. And we click on store, and depending on it, there will be a number of different items available. And as you level up the different reputations, the list of available stuff becomes bigger and bigger. You can see here now we've already unlocked a number of ground weapons. You would pick up a fleet version much cheaper from the fleet store than you would get from the reputation stores. You will also get a higher quality weapon from the fleet store compared to the reputation store. And if you remember what I said a few minutes ago, reputation gear is twice as expensive to upgrade compared to fleet gear. So keep that in mind. Just keep that in the back of your mind, because it's very important. So that's reputations. Yeah, we've talked about PvE queues, earning marks, the different difficulty levels, the bonus, the daily bonus that comes with each of them. We've talked about the various different types of reputations, doing the projects, leveling them up, traits, upgrades, and yeah, I think that's it. What else did we talk about? Oh, we talked about the amount of resources that are needed for each one to go from tier 5, or from tier 0 to tier 5, depending on whether or not it has the sponsorship token. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really. That's a basic introduction to reputations. So look, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks a million for watching, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. That would help me out enormously. I'm only getting started off with these Let's Play series and tutorial guides, and indeed on the channel overall. So I really appreciate all of your support. And the more interaction I get on videos and indeed on the channel itself, it helps with YouTube searches and stuff like that. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like. That would help me out enormously. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Again, that's more interaction on videos and on the channel, and I appreciate all of your support. And as always, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. My name is Winters, and I will see you next time. So until then, take care.